Dudes, so happy for you. Does anyone in Japan give you looks because you're a foreigner? People keep describing like the angry look. I just tend to avoid eye contact normally anyway because out of habit of not wanting to get recognized. So I don't really know what the look is that people describe, like the disappointed look. I haven't seen it yet. How is settling down there? Is it difficult? Now that I have my setup, I feel really good. Like having the chair again, got my desktop computer, my monitors, my camera. There's still tweaks and stuff I want to do, a lot of it, but the general basic is here and it feels amazing. I love this office. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I really want to do a setup tour. Marcia the yoinky to your spoinky. She is the greatest yoinky, the most amazing yoinky to my spoinky. Wait, is this sexual? Did anime introduce you to Japanese culture? I think it probably did, actually. I watched anime a lot when I was 18, but that's not what drew me to Japan. I didn't watch anime and was like, I want to go to Japan. Although I do remember the first time when I went here, I was a bit underwhelmed with how little anime there is. Like, there are places you can go, which is smack full, like Akihabara. And yeah, I guess a lot of bookstores and convenience, they sell manga, but it's not a thing everywhere. What is an underrated or unspoken about feature of Japan that you really like? It's not underrated or underspoken. I think people still know about it, but people visit Japan to see all the quirky and wacky and all the crazy toilets and the vending machines, the convenience, the amazing trains and all that. I really like the more quiet, love for nature aspect of Japan and more spiritual side as well. I think it's the softer side of Japan. You know, it has a wacky, crazy side, but also a softer side, which I really like. How's the weather there? It's great. It's nice to actually see the sun. Are you enjoying not being constantly recognized? Do you miss the recognition at all? I never cared for attention. I always smile when I meet people. It genuinely like brightens me up. I mean that, and I think people recognize this in my vlogs, that I can kind of let my guard down a bit in public, and that's also honestly part of the reason why we like Japan. No one knows who we are here, and I really enjoy that. As much as I like meeting you guys, I do also enjoy that. But also don't misunderstand me. I always appreciate people coming and just saying hi for a bit. Have a lot of tattoos. Do you think I'll have a problem when to Japan? You'll be fine. They know foreigners have tattoos. There's nothing weird about it, but you won't be allowed to go in most onsens. You can maybe find a private one or foreigner-friendly onsens. Usually should be okay, maybe. It's worth trying at least. Do you plan on staying in Japan for the rest of your life? Bruh. Only thing I plan to do for the rest of my life is staying with Margia. So, I don't make plans for the rest of my life. Actually, I will keep lifting for the rest of my life. And reading. What's the defining moment that made you want to move to Japan? I think it was in 2018 when me and Marcia had stayed there for a month. And at the end of it, we realized it was such a good time that we didn't want to really go back. And we both just imagined, hey, what if we actually moved here for a while? What would that look like? Would that work? And we started looking into it. A lot of things changed from that moment to where we are now, but I'm just so glad to be here. Are you getting a JDM car or example Nissan Skyline? I love the Skyline. It's a sexy ass vehicle. I haven't seen one here actually, but I did see a Volvo 740 decked out here and I was like, damn. That's what I should have. I'm not big on cars, to be honest. I know very little, but being in Japan and trying to find the car that I want to buy here has really made me appreciate well-designed Japanese cars. They're just incredible. How hard is it to not know anyone, or do you know someone already? We know Joe and Aki, Tokidoki Emma. I met with Connor, he's really cool. There seems to be a ton of other YouTubers that I would love to meet here as well. Garnt, a fellow pizza crust hater, you know. I already know people and I look forward to meeting even more people. How is it socially being a resident in Japan? As a foreigner, socially I want to move, but I don't know. Now that I'm showing this whole process of moving and all that, I want people to be mindful that, yes, it was difficult to move here, especially with the pandemic happening, and I'm sure it'll be easier, but from what I hear, and most people that move here find it really difficult because of the work culture being so much harder than they think, or really struggling because basically just working all the time and having very little money and yada yada yada. I don't think my vlogs are an accurate portrayal of what it's like being a resident here. Visiting though, amazing, and you should definitely do it. Does Japan feel very crowded wherever you go? No. Not at all, actually. People are always moving. Tokyo is huge, so you always have to be aware of other people around you, no matter where you are or what you're doing. But where I live, no, it's not crowded. If you go to Shinjuku station at 5 p.m., yes, it will be very crowded. But most of the time, ton of space. How much does it cost to move to Japan? Well, for me, it came with a big cost. Japan taxes is very strict, and that's definitely something I waived while considering moving here. But I made most of my money. It'd be silly for me to not move somewhere because of taxes. What is your favorite book on Japanese history, either nonfiction or fiction? I read The Sword and Chrysanthemum. I don't know if that's how you say it. It was written by Ruth Benedict, an anthropologist that was hired by the American government during World War II as an attempt to understand the Japanese people and their mindset at the time, which especially then was really hard to understand. It seemed almost contradictory, hence the title Sword and the Flower, basically, Chrysanthemum. How a country can be so hard and soft at the same time. It's two opposites and two contradictions, and sort of breaking that down. Some people say it's not accurate, some people say it is. I just find it really interesting because it's generally based on a really, really old mindset. Obviously, things are different and change. What are you using to learn Japanese? Mainly I'm using Anki, which is really good for vocabulary. You basically get a bunch of flashcards that you make yourself, which I like too, because then if I want to learn a word, I just put it in my own library and the flashcards will repeat them for me. I think it's a fun way to do it. I'm also using Todai, I think it's called. It's an app that lets you read simplified Japanese news. And they have translations and dictionary, and yeah, that seems okay for me for now. I'm trying to do stuff that I think is fun and focus on that, to be honest. So I'll let you know if it's successful or not. People got so mad at me for saying that I don't know Japanese fluently, or like I don't know any Japanese, I said, which wasn't true. It's not true. I just kind of feel like it doesn't come naturally to me learning Japanese, and I'd rather downplay how much I've actually spent trying to learn Japanese and surprise people, as opposed to saying, yes, I've studied so much, but then I can hardly get a sentence out or something like that. And also, like I mentioned in my vlog, people say like, oh, I speak a little bit of English, and then they're fluent here. It's just kind of odd to me. So at first, people ask if I speak Japanese. I would also say a little, and then it's like, oh god, I don't speak a little. This is impossible. It's on my Reddit. Someone was just making a joke that, oh, he had 3 years to wait to move to Japan, and he didn't learn the language. He just posted a bunch of memes or something like that. The thing is, and I think people don't realize it, since this process was so difficult for so long, we didn't think we would actually be going. I was actually sure that we weren't going to go for a while, so I kind of stopped learning Japanese because I thought, well, what's the point? And if we do end up going, I'm just going to learn quicker if I'm actually there. But after a while, I decided, you know what? I actually really enjoy studying Japanese. I think it's really fun. I read all these things about how good it is for your brain to learn a new language, and it's really healthy for you to do. So I thought, you know what? Fuck it. Even if we don't end up moving to Japan, I actually still want to learn Japanese because I enjoy doing it. So I would actually recommend people to learn language, not to... I know that sounds preachy for someone that hasn't even learned the damn language yet, but it's fun. I like it. I'm not good, like I said, it doesn't come naturally at all to me. It's completely different than learning a Western language, I think, but it's a challenge, and I'm not giving up. Anything you miss about Brighton? I knew I would miss this, and it's seeing the ocean every day. You kind of take it for granted when you do live there, though. But yeah, it's always nice to see it. Is there a language barrier when having a casual conversation, like asking for directions? What kind of shocked me right away is that people speak very fast. And even words that I do know, I hear them say it and it doesn't register right away, so it takes me a while. So yeah, it's difficult. Will you help Connor clean his room? He probably still needs it. It's a little weird, but yeah, I would love to. If you raised your kids in Japan, what do you think the first language would be? Oh god, that is a weird one to think about. I guess they would speak Japanese if they went to school, but then they would speak English with us. And Japanese, and Swedish, and Italian. This poor child. What's your definition of a perfect lifestyle? Living your life freely, doing the things that you want to do with no pressure from other people. I think maybe part of growing up, you realize that there's so much pressures of what you do. You think it's your own choice, but in reality, you made it for someone else. And that's how you end up living your life without even realizing it. So for me, the perfect lifestyle would just be living your life the way you want to. Sounds simple, but not always the case. I would say rarely. Okay, I think that's gone long enough. Thank you guys for watching. Super fun to answer your questions. I feel like I look so f***ing Swedish here. It's insane. Anyway, I appreciate all the love and support. It really means so much to me. I didn't come here thinking, I'm gonna start vlogging, Japan vlog! But it's become something really, really fun, and I love all the love. You guys are great. Thank you. A bro fist.